The completion by August 31st depends upon the Taliban continuing to cooperate and allow access to the airport for those who were transporting out and no disruptions to our operations. In addition, I've asked the Pentagon and the State Department for contingency plans to adjust the timetable.
Who does a contingency plan in the middle of the engagement? I go argue a case at the Supreme Court. I've got argument A, I got argument B, and then you always have the one I call the exit ramp. How do you get out of that situation? That is decided months and months before. How do you not have a contingency plan militarily, Wes, when you're in the middle of toward the very end of the engagement?
Yeah.
What does that look like, by the way, in the White House? What's going on with the military leadership on something like this?
General Milley and Secretary of Defense Austin, who's a retired four-star general, they are not confronting the White House. They're not giving them the hard truth.
Well, they're not very confident building either.
They're not. They're completely, they lack confidence. They don't instill it in the rest of us. The mistake was trusting the Taliban in the first place.
Yeah.
When they began to take all the provincial capitals, that was violating the agreement we had on the withdrawal. When they overthrew the government, violates the agreement we had. And what was our action supposed to be? To attack and to push them back, and we did not do that. And now we're trusting them to provide security for us.
When he says he's now requested a contingency plan, I mean, I think people will tacitly say, well, I guess it's good he's requesting it now. But Jordan, in order for a contingency plan to be any good, you have to consider it and you have to land on it before you execute the withdrawal. Why is that just happening now?
His plan's falling apart completely, and while it's falling apart, he calls his generals up, General Milley, and say, hey, what else can we do here? We may need a contingency. That's how this looks. But it's going to look like a total failure. I'm talking about on the global stage, Harry, for the United States. That's what I'm concerned about also. How does this impact our allies who are already saying, don't do August 31st, don't stick to that deadline, G8 conference yesterday, President doesn't budge. The only thing we get out of it is, well, he may look at contingencies.
Essentially what we have is a planned form of a national humiliation by the Biden administration. Basically, Biden engaged in an intemperate decision, an ill-advised pullout from Afghanistan after giving up the Bagram Air Base, after failing to identify all Americans in Afghanistan. And so essentially, he caved to what? A terrorist group.
You've got an airport under siege. You've got the Taliban controlling the access points to it. And what's the response from the commander-in-chief of the superpower of the world? It's, we're talking to that regime that's controlling the access routes to the airport. By the way, Jordan, to say nothing about the response they got from the Taliban. What was the response they got? The Taliban told them to take a hike.
Yes, right. I mean, yeah, they said, get out of here. I mean, here's the response from the Taliban. No. That's the Taliban's response. And we're saying, oh, General Milley, could you meet with Admiral Kirby, both confidence builders, and come up with some kind of contingency plan? What, this isn't a game. They're playing with lives of Americans and people that helped Americans.